Hello, everybody. Welcome to the No Shots Fired podcast, episode 32, Numerous Footfalls. A clever reference that you can figure out later.
Indeed.
Junkblade, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, although I am out of cherry coke, and that's no good.
That is absolutely no good. I, in solidarity with you, have a feisty cherry Diet Coke, which is feistier than I thought it would be.
I am glad to hear that it is sufficiently feisty for you.
Yes. And as always, Valen, how are you doing?
Yes, Valen, how are you?
Okay.
You seem to be a little bit, ceiling fan-ish tonight.
I really should have come up with a fan pun before doing this bit. But, the perils of live podcasting.
Maybe the moths will get him, since he seems to be part lamp.
There you go. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, Valen, not here today. We'll try to carry on.
White Nova has joined us.
Oh, hello, White Nova. Can you hear us? The screen doesn't look black to me.
Yeah. Everything seems fine on my end.
All right. But, so we have a couple of games to talk about, kinda. I have, once again, been slacking on my Undertale, but we want to talk about that when Valen's here. So, Junkblade, you wanted to talk to us about another RPG that you're, is it diving back into?
Yeah, I played it for a while, then stopped for some reason that I can't quite remember, and am planning on picking it back up. It's called Tales of Berseria, which is a game in the Tales of series. I don't even know how many games they have at this point, or much about the universe in general, really.
I feel like that's probably most people, right? It's a confusing.
Probably. I should probably have done a little bit more research so I could do a proper summary before this. But
is there like a connective tissue between the games?
That's why I was saying I should have done more research, because I have no idea.
Okay. We'll assume no. Because it's easy. Well, some of the, so Tales of, what kind of world does Tales of Berseria take place in?
So, the world, as you know it, is you are just a woman who is living in a pretty idyllic hamlet. Let me take a moment to remember her name. Velvet, I think? Yeah, Velvet. And the world is beset by demons.
Mm.
They have a tendency to take out towns exactly like yours by coming in and possessing people.
Mm. That old chestnut.
So, the intro, you do a couple of simple things, and then the sick boy you're taking care of seems to have disappeared one night. And it turns out he was taken to this weird, sacrificial altar place by someone you trusted, who then kills him as an attempt to give more people the power to fight demons off.
Okay.
People seem to differ on whether or not, people who play the game seem to apparently differ on whether or not this was effective or not, because when I was playing through it, the case seemed to be that it barely actually did anything. So your character has a right to be pissed off at this guy, but other people have apparently interpreted it as he made a big impact on how things are going. Though, again, I haven't gotten that far into the game, so that probably has quite a bit to do with it.
Okay. What kind of style of combat is this one?
button masher.
Okay, so action RPG.
Action RPG, you just beat the crap out of things.
Okay. I still haven't found like one of those action. I guess I haven't put a ton of time into that kind, but I just have a hard time getting over my turn-based roots sometimes.
And that is completely fair.
I'm an old man. I got to get with the times. But okay, so how maybe did you say how many hours you were into it?
Give me just a moment to check. Actually, did it mean to exit out of that? Oh well. We'll check those things out later. Berseria. This is someone else's library. I'm doing Steam sharing with a couple of people, so that's why. Okay. 3 hours in.
Okay. So you're JRPG, you're barely through the tutorial.
Oh, I'm past the tutorial,
okay.
But not by much.
I think Persona 4, I'm not sure you would be through the tutorial part.
Fair.
In 3 hours.
Jeez.
Which is fine. It takes a bit, but it's worth it. Okay. So and this is one you haven't beaten, correct?
I have not beaten this. I don't have much of an idea of how the plot goes other than accidentally having read a spoiler online.
Okay. That's always good. All right. Okay. Well, I'll be interested to hear how that progresses as we move forward, since you're the only one who reliably plays games that they're talking about, which is essential to this podcast, I have to tell you. I say, in that vein, I played something, but I guess it was so inconsequential that I don't remember what since our last podcast. I'm gonna do some Mega Man 11 tonight. I think I'm gonna jump into that. But I was kind of looking at my shelf of games, and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker caught my eye, and I just wanted to kind of go back to that and say kind of what a cool little game that was, because it was $30 or $40, I think, and it was just kind of this offshoot of a side thing. I think it was Super Mario 3D World, where Toad dresses up in like a mining hat and a treasure pack, and there's these little one-screen rotatable puzzle levels, and Toad can't really run or jump or anything, so you're kind of just moving the environment and sneaking past enemies or something like that to get 3 diamonds or something like that. And it was just they ended up expanding that out to an entire game, and I had a blast with it. It was a fun little, it wasn't something that had to be too crazy or anything like that, but it was well done. It looked great. The puzzles were very well made, and we were talking about it before we started, and they did re-release it for the Switch with some new content. I don't know how much it is. I need to look that up before I see if I want to do it again on the Switch.
Okay.
But if it's substantial enough, I would. But it's got me thinking that I probably should make more of an effort to look for smaller games like this. So it's something a little more manageable for the amount of time I have these days, but still, very fun and engaging. Which I know there's probably. I was gonna say that I wish there were more of these, but there's so many games these days that there probably are. I'm just not looking in the right places to find them. But do you have any games like that? Kind of a small. I don't know if I want to say bite-sized, but I guess a lot of the games we've talked about are these longer RPGs and kind of more substantial. But
let me think. Small, bite-sized. One that was just very basic, but I enjoyed playing through was called Dear Esther, I think.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that. Good soundtrack.
It's got a good soundtrack, and it's just, like I said, it's very basic. You go around exploring this island, and narration plays over as you do. And then, like, you get to the end, and your character just flies off, which is a little bit weird given the rest of the game.
Okay.
But, it's I like it because it was something different. It was short, and
kind of a mood piece kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a mood piece kind of thing. It was just it told a story entirely through dialogue, and you got to explore this island that looked really cool.
Okay, it's cool. I think those are tough to really make impactful. Well, maybe. Like, if they hit you well, then they're really, really enjoyable and a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you really kind of feel like you've wasted your time a bit, right? Because there's not much gameplay to speak of.
Yeah, there definitely is not much to it.
Yeah, but if the world is interesting, or there's a compelling story, or even, the atmosphere / music is good, that can be enough to carry you through a couple hours of that kind of experience. I guess, yeah, looking at other games, not at all similar in terms of gameplay or mood or anything. Oxenfree is probably a game I'd describe as that. I'd actually recommend you that would be one I would tell you to try. Junkblade, that was a fun one.
I will put down Oxenfree in my notes.
Let's see, what are one or two more I was thinking of. Kentucky Route Zero is an interesting one. It's a little. I haven't finished that yet, but that's a trippy experience. But the visuals I think are really cool and well done.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's kind of smaller games that I thought was good, but also Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, everybody. Good game. Give it a go. I know the Wii U didn't sell anything, but it's out on Switch now, so give it a try.
On the topic of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, real quick, there's just a really funny comic somebody sent me in regards to it, where Toad gets to the end and is looking for the treasure, and Mario's waiting for him and says, "I'm sorry, your treasure is in another castle." It's like, what? See how it feels?
Mario's waited 30 years. That's fantastic. Oh, that's really good. I wish you gotta send me that if you can find it.
I will see if I can find it.
That's awesome. Oh, very good. Just on that, people need to play Captain Toad just to have that. I also want to play it again just to have that joke rattling around in my head while I'm playing it.
All right, I found it.
All right. Well, we'll post that in the chat for everybody who's watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of... Are these all bots? Tough to tell. Okay. Well, if you're bots, you can go look at it too. Fellow computers. But I think we had, no D&D update on the... Need to remember the name of our D&D thing. We have not done episode 2 yet. Fear not, everyone who's panicking that they missed it. I feel like we need to... Hopefully we can get maybe 1 or 2 more sessions in with most of the people, but then we probably have to kind of split into smaller subgroups, right? But we'll see where we can get on that once Valen gets fully operational again. We'll call it.
Yeah.
But you had a couple campaigns going, right, Junkblade, to update us on?
Yes. One, I forget whether I updated you on it. Have I done 1 or 2 updates on the Japanese mythology campaign?
Ooh. That might have been just 1.
Okay, so we were on a quest to save the mayor's daughter from bandits.
Okay.
Session before this, we met someone who helped us out a little bit, who ended up being a kami, which is basically all the forests on the entire plane. So, pretty high up there on the divine hierarchy.
Okay.
We all left little offerings at his shrine out of respect, especially since he made a comment about how people don't really come around anymore.
The guilt trip.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And he gave us a little bit of a hint on how to approach the bandit camp stealthily, which did not go as planned. We followed his directions. It's just
okay. Real quick.
No.
How many? You've played a lot of D&D. How many stealth ops have gone off in your D&D playing days?
A decent number in the campaigns that I've run, but in campaigns I've played in, not many.
I was just thinking, the little I've played and then, all the Adventure Zone stuff I've listened to. It's just anytime you try to be stealth is the time your dice just go, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we killed a few of the bandits, and then the bandit leader came out of his hut with a knife to the throat of the mayor's daughter.
No good.
Then our ranger, oddly enough, because this is more of a rogue type move, got the idea to see, we were all on the edge of this cliff that we had climbed up to try and take them by surprise.
Okay.
So the ranger does a bluff check to convince the bandit leader that they just slipped and fell off. It's only about a 20-foot drop, so it wouldn't be lethal. It would just be, stupid of them to have done.
Yes.
And then they get a 23 on the bluff check, so the bandit leader does in fact believe that they just fell off the ledge. And then he starts going around to try and then succeeds on his stealth check to sneak up behind the bandit leader and put his knife to his throat.
A taste of your own medicine, doctor.
Yeah. We try to negotiate with him to get him to release the mayor's daughter, but it doesn't really work. And he does his own bluff check to try and get the ranger to drop the knife, but instead the ranger ends up slitting his throat, which is what he planned to do the entire time. So the bandit leader also ends up slitting the throat of the mayor's daughter. However, luckily, he didn't cut her throat very deeply, so we were able to heal her, and she's not mute.
Okay, hang on.
There would be a scar on her throat.
The ranger slit the throat of the bandit.
And the bandit slit the throat of the mayor's daughter.
Okay, I thought you said he also slit. I was like, that was
quite... I phrased things poorly.
That would have been interesting. I wanted to see the mechanics of that, but okay.
And then I think we killed every other bandit except for one who managed to get away.
As you do. I'm sure he'll never come back.
I'm sure. There's no way he's going to, gain levels and become an arch nemesis later for us in the campaign.
No, that never happens.
That never happens. So that's an update for that campaign. Mm-hmm. And I also have an update for the campaign that I'm running, the Red Hand of Doom.
All right.
The players made quite a bit of progress on their quest this time around. They cleared the ruins of rest of the ogres, Etten, hobgoblins, goblin, and black dragon.
Okay. Now, remind me of the hierarchy of the colors again.
Black dragons are the second lowest. White are the lowest, then it's black, then green, blue, and red.
Gotcha. Okay.
I ran the scenario mostly according to the book because it says very specifically that Wormlord Servith is the goblin's title.
Mm.
All the high ups in the Red Hand of Doom have the title Wormlord.
Okay.
Is a realist and knows the rest of the Red Hand doesn't really like him very much and is basically only in the position he's in because of his black dragon friend Regirax.
Okay.
So when he gets back to the tower and sees, oh, they killed literally all the hobgoblins and have also burned down the hatchery for these dragon abomination things called dragon spawn.
Mm.
If he actually returns to the Red Hand of Doom at this point, Wormlord, Azar Cool, the one who is running everything, is basically going to personally torture him to death.
Mm. Not good.
So he makes a deal with the PCs instead.
Okay.
Which is pretty much according to the book. The only thing that I changed is that normally you have to have killed his friend Regirax to get that result, but I decided to enable a more peaceful negotiation scenario because I think it just fits a little bit more.
Okay.
Especially with the style of campaign I want to run. If I wanted my players to just murder hobo everything, I probably would have run a different campaign.
yeah, that's fair. What level are they at right now?
After last session, they are level 8.
Okay. Now is that getting pretty high for like a first? I guess I don't know. Like how high do your campaigns usually go? I feel like you told me before, but
most campaigns last till around level 10 to 12.
Okay.
It's a sign of a good group if you can get them to last higher than that. And I have a good group, so I am hoping that we can get the campaign to go to level 20 or even a little bit higher.
Okay.
So they diplomatized the war, who is now on their side. He'll help them out once the war is over. Like, he's not going to actively fight with the Red Hand of Doom, but he's also not going to try and harm the defenses of the PCs.
Okay, so just kind
of
actively not doing much.
Yeah, but they basically just said, here's where we live, go here, don't do anything.
Okay.
Then, in exchange for his life and the life of his friend, Wormlord Servith gave them information and the phylactery of a lich known as the Ghost Lord.
The what?
Okay, so liches keep their soul in a thing called a phylactery, so that if their physical body gets destroyed, that it will regenerate later.
Oh.
Sort of like if you read Harry Potter, the
Horcrux.
The Horcrux thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it doesn't actually say how the Red Hand of Doom got the phylactery, to my knowledge, but yeah, that Servith gave it to them as a bargaining chip to help them out. So then they decided to take a trip down to go see the Ghost Lord and be like, hey, we've got this now. You can either help us or we can destroy it and you.
Okay.
Which is exactly what the Red Hand of Doom did.
Yeah.
So it worked out for them right now, but I'm definitely going to have that bite them in the ass a little bit later. Because he's sick of his phylactery getting passed around to people and all of them coming and be like, hey, we want your help or you die, sort of thing.
Yeah, that would become probably an annoying bargaining chip on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you like have like a notebook where you kind of keep track of like things you want to come back later to tease the
I
party
really
or something?
should, but it's mostly all in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I would require a notebook for that kind of skullduggery.
Yeah, I've got a lot of skullduggery going on.
Very good. And so this is the one that you guys is this in the 3 campaign rotation kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Have you mainly been playing this one lately, or have you been jumping back and forth?
We jump back and forth.
Okay.
And that was the D&D update.
All right. Very good. Very good. Substantive D&D update, which is what we hope for. Which I guess brings us to our main topic today, which is something I was just kind of mulling over in my head, and I think this may stretch across, 1 or 2 more episodes. But the title I came up with was Gaming Embarrassments, which mainly has to do with games either of us feel like we should have played or slash beaten, but just haven't. Whether it's, we didn't have the system at the time, or whether we played it initially and just never and fell off of it. But just kind of games for one reason or another that you feel like you should have experienced by now. And I guess the best example I can come up with for me is probably the original NES Mario games. So I've played, substantial amounts of Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, but I've never beaten any of them.
Likewise.
Okay. Which is not, I'm, of an age where my, earliest memories are really of Super Nintendo. I know we had an NES, but then, like, my big console was the 64, and I know you're a bit younger than me, so, not, entirely surprising that we wouldn't have, done a deep dive into the NES library, but, the Super Mario games, I guess, are not too deep.
No.
In that library, and they're, kind of a bedrock of the gaming experience in terms of their influence on the medium, I guess. But do you have any that stick out to you?
Yes, and you're going to admonish me for this.
This is a judgment-free space. I just said I've never beaten Super Mario Brothers, so...
The Mass Effect trilogy.
Okay, well, I have been bugging
I've
people
beaten
to
the first one.
Okay.
I have beaten the first one.
That's good. I say Mass Effect. Yeah, Mass Effect. I enjoyed the entire 3 games. Mass Effect 2 was probably my favorite in terms of a combination. Like Mass Effect 1 was great, but it wasn't. Mass Effect 2 was just kind of a smoother playing experience. I know certain people, prefer that combat, but in terms of the combination of story and gameplay, Mass Effect 2 was probably the best for me. Mass Effect 3, I thought, for me, was very satisfying in terms of, seeing conclusions to the storylines I'd built up over the previous 2 games. Whether the absolute final 2 minutes were satisfying was kind of beyond the point for me, because I'd kind of had my ending before that,
which is completely fair.
Yeah, and I understand that people, wanted more out of that, but I kind of went into it with the idea of I don't know how you could do a satisfying.
Well, the other thing that I read was that they intended to go somewhere else with the ending, and then executive meddling happened because that ending, like, part of it got leaked, sort of thing.
Okay, I could see that.
I'm actually surprised they don't have the Mass Effect trilogy on Steam. Like, they've got 1 and 2, but they don't have 3.
That is because EA has their own Origin, is their own goofy service, and Mass Effect 3 came out when they were really trying to make that a thing.
Okay,
so you can only get it on Origin, I believe. Because I have Mass Effect. Yeah, I have the first 2 on Steam, but
so basically, EA sucks. What else is new?
Yes. Although, the idea that, Valve gets to control everything, it's convenient for me, but I do understand other companies probably not wanting to give them even more money, but they need to build a better service if they're going to get people to go off of it. But,
Yes, exactly.
like I'd say, Battle.net's pretty good, but Battle.net, I'm not really trying to go for too many other games besides just Blizzard stuff. I know they're branching out into some Activision things like Destiny and Call of Duty, but that's a much more specialized service, I guess. Okay, so the Mass Effect games. Excellent choices.
I think there were a few more I was thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, mine kind of skew more into the retro category because I've been so into kind of gathering these games. I just have to start kind of playing through and beating them. Like Super Metroid is one I need to beat. Earthbound we were talking about earlier.
Another classic, but this is a genuinely difficult game. I just feel like I should have beaten it by now. Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh, okay. I hear about that a lot. I have not looked into it much, but that's a Super Nintendo game, right?
It's a Super Nintendo game, and it's co-op. So it's the kind of game that would be kind of fun to, like you and a friend have a game night where you just try and beat a game the entire night.
Definitely. I keep trying to get one of you guys to move closer to me so we can do that. But my efforts will continue. Let's see, another one, not a specific game, but just one of the Dragon Quest games. Just like, one of the grandfathers of the JRPG, which is a genre I'm very fond of. I've played, a little bit of several of those games, but never come close to beating them. They're much, definitely a time-intensive game, but considered to be one of the great series out there. So
this isn't specifically a gaming embarrassment. It's just a game from when I was younger that I want to try to play and beat, which I believe I mentioned in one of our previous streams. This is by no means a classic, people. Dino Wars, the destruction of Spondylus.
That's right. And how's Dino spelled again?
DYNO. And it's all one word. So it's DYNOWARZ.
It took me a while to find that the last time we talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's got to be more fun for me than Conker's Bad Fur Day was.
That game was too naughty for me to play it at the time. So
I tried, and it was just like, this isn't. I get why people liked this, and like why it was sort of groundbreaking at the time, but for me, it just wasn't funny.
Yeah, I mean, that was that kind of 90s, very 90s kind of humor, right?
Very 90s kind of humor and platforming hell type gameplay equated to not for me.
Yeah, the early 3D platformers had to be so tight, either in terms of design or control, to really be. Because how many of those were there, right? And not many of them are well regarded these days. I think you've got Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64. Yeah.
Super Mario 64, my only complaint about that game is that literally your only reward for getting 120 stars is you get to talk to Yoshi.
Hey, on the roof, Junkblade. It was 96. No one had come up with any good rewards. I guess you could have played like Luigi or something. Could have just done a color swap on that one. But I never did get 100. How many stars did I have on Super Mario 64? Hang on. Do you have any more that you can think of?
I was going to say, I do remember the specific stages in Super Mario 64 that were just not fun to get all the stars on.
Yeah.
In terms of gaming embarrassments, give me a moment, because I know there are more.
I'll be right back.
Oh. Let's see. I've beaten Diablo 3, including the expansion, so it feels like a failing that I have not beaten Diablo 1 or 2. Diablo 1, I got pretty close, but I was playing the fighter, and some of the rooms are randomly generated, so the one room I hit on the 13th floor was filled with these lava golem demons that all had ranged attacks and were blocked off by a fence, so they always killed me before I could actually get to any of them. So that's the story of how I rage quit Diablo 1.
Okay.
And Diablo 2, I seriously just need to install and play through at some point.
Oh, man.
Diablo 3, I've beaten and very much enjoyed. Divinity 2 Ego Draconis. I got so close to the end, but I was using, I was playing on Steam, because the Xbox 360 version has a weird tendency of breaking, and on Steam they give you, the ability to mod it, or, they give you, the developer overlay.
Mm-hmm.
So I accidentally broke the story because I used a thing to just open a lock, and that made it so that, a flag didn't get triggered.
Oh, jeez.
So I could... And there's no way to reset it. So there's, this one plot that I can't play through. And...
Oh, goodness.
So I can't finish the main quest, so I have to just go back and replay the entire game at some point.
Not a pleasant prospect.
Not a pleasant prospect, no.
I'll tell you, I'm actually a lot closer to 120 stars on Super Mario 64 than I thought.
How close are you?
I've got one file at 107 and one at 104.
Nice. I'm gonna guess, in terms of the places you haven't gotten all the stars at, it's probably either Rainbow Road or Tick-Tock Clock.
It looks like one file is all of them, or just I'm missing 6 levels, 100 coin stars. And then
Okay.
I think mostly it's some secret stars I'm missing, because it looks like most of them are filled. But
okay.
Interesting. Just a live check-in on my 64 that I hooked up here to test the Super Smash Bros. Cart I bought off of eBay last week.
How did the Super Smash Bros. Cart work?
It did. So.
Last gaming embarrassment I can think of for now.
Okay.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
What? Your family's beaten that 100 times.
Yes, and I was not involved in any of those times.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, you've beaten it through osmosis, basically, at that point.
I suppose that's fair.
I share that one with you. I've beaten the Game Boy Advance one, which I really enjoy, but I have not beaten the original one, which I think Yeah, I've got that sitting around here. So
our stream died. The Twitch machine got unplugged. Try again in a moment.
Oh, no.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
I've never run across that before.
Oh, well. When I refreshed, it's on. So I guess we'll see what happened when I go back through the episode. But okay, so that is shocking to me. Final Fantasy Tactics.
I know. I might, if the small TV's not being used, hijack that again, hook up the PlayStation, and just play through that.
Absolutely. I gotta figure out a way to get you a capture card for this kind of stuff.
What is a capture card?
Well, I've got one that's called a Dazzle, which has inputs that you can hook your console, like video and audio outputs into. And the other end is a USB cable you plug into your PC so you can stream. It's how you can how I can stream retro stuff. So.
Yeah, I would very much appreciate a capture card.
Okay, I gotta see if there's any better ones these days. This one, it's not bad, but I got it a while ago.
Yeah, makes sense.
Here's another one that I should probably just give a whirl to, but like the original Doom.
I don't know that I would count that as among my gaming embarrassments, but I have
Okay.
not played through that myself.
I say that like the progenitor of the FPS genre, which I know you're not into as
True.
maybe as much as uh, me or Valen, but like I've played. Was it? I think I played more of Quake, if I'm thinking about it. But I feel like I need to go back and play Doom because there's just too much. And these aren't I don't know. But I feel like to have kind of an appreciation of like retro games, which I'm trying to do. I need to play these kind of pillars of those kind of things. Which there's plenty of new games I haven't played also, but I always feel like more ashamed of like the old classic ones that I haven't. Like I've only beaten 2 NES Mega Man games, which is probably the 2 and 3 probably the most important ones to have beaten. But
I believe the ones that I've beaten are not of the originals, but Mega Man X1 through 4. I have not beaten X5. I have beaten X6. And I've beaten the Mega Man Zero series.
oh, okay. Zero, those were the GBA games? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean the Mega Man series gets really dark when you look into the lore anyway, but the Zero series is dark.
Okay. I think do you like the Zero games?
I love the Zero games.
Okay.
Although I understand why a lot of people not, because a lot of people are getting sick of the games that end with just either bad endings or at best Pyrrhic victories.
Okay, yeah.
Because understandably a few indie companies are leaning a little too heavily on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is yeah.
See, I think the more embarrassing part about this for me is that I have so many of these games like within like arm's reach of me right now.
Oh yeah, I've got the rest of the Mass Effect trilogy within arm's reach of me right now. I just need to actually play it.
Yeah. All right, looks like I have Mega Man Zero 2. What I have.
I have the collection for the DS because
okay.
that was easier than just buying them separately and also cheaper, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Here's another I never the Mario and Luigi games really are supposed to be very good RPGs.
I need to finish Bowser's Inside Story.
I say I've got that one. I've got Superstar Saga. I've got Dream Team. I think so. The GameCube Paper Mario game is one I want to play. But yeah. So my idea, once we get our full cast back in the mix here, was to try to make like a kind of a hierarchy list of these games. For me, or if anyone else wants to do this as well, that's fine. And then I would try to like start at the top of that list and kind of go down.
Okay.
Would be my vain attempt.
Would you say I should
these.
prioritize the Mass Effect trilogy or Final Fantasy Tactics?
Oh boy. Those are both very long games.
It's a trick question. I'm prioritizing Dino Wars.
Fair. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. So yeah, so these are the things we have to decide as a group here. So once Valen starts spinning again, we'll get into that, I think. But it's I guess embarrassment is also probably too strong a word because everyone's path is different. But kind of maybe gaming regrets kind of thing. Something I wish I would have. Like, I guess the main problem, like my main kind of regret is that I didn't experience these in the moment necessarily, So I've got, because I had access to Super Mario Brothers when I was 7, 8 years old. I just didn't play it.
Mhm.
But same. We never owned Super Metroid or other games like that necessarily. But there were a number of games that I did own, or my family owned, I guess, that I just never got around to. And it would have been interesting to play those at the time. And it's always interesting to see how, if your feelings change or if the power of nostalgia is just too strong. Like when I go back and play Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time or Final Fantasy 4 or 7 or something like that, where I don't necessarily see the age, and I could you could make arguments that it's because those games are great games, but I think a lot of it is just kind of remembering a simpler time. But yeah, so but an interesting exercise, I think, and hopefully Valen's going to have some choice opinions. I'm sure I got taken to task quite a bit for not playing Link's Awakening, so I should probably have to add that onto the list as well. Probably Majora's Mask too, but
Majora's Mask I can give people slack for because it is a very big jump from Ocarina of Time.
I think that was because I had it at the time, and you're absolutely right. It was just too different for me.
I think I first finished it out of stubbornness, and then went, I do actually kind of like the game because it has pathos that Ocarina of Time doesn't. So I'm going to go play back through and see how much of it I can 100% without looking up guides. 100% is the wrong word. I was just trying to get all the masks without looking up how to get them online, and I think I found like 75% of them guide free.
Oh wow!
And some of them are really difficult to get without a
pretty
guide,
obtuse, right?
Or just like you wouldn't necessarily think of this as the solution to getting a mask.
Yeah.
Without looking it up.
Well, let me tell you what. On my shelf, I have a guide for the N64 and the 3DS version. In case you're stuck, I can be a reference for that because I have a problem. But no, yeah, you're right. The game was too different for me, and also that time mechanic I think just freaked me out. Like I could not. The idea of like going back in time and losing, even though you could deposit some stuff, but losing like my arrows and stuff, which I hoarded, which I hoard in every possible way in every other game.
Yeah, I understand.
But
I always found it helpful to use the reverse Song of Time to slow the passage of time down. And yeah, I hoarded as many rubies as I could to make it easier to deal with certain things.
Yeah, and yeah, I need to just kind of commit to going through it because that is a cool, different mechanic, in a classic Zelda game. So yeah, Majora's Mask, but a lot of stuff on the list, a lot of things to think about, but so I think that takes us to the end of this episode. Episode 32, Numerous Footfalls.
Unless...
If anyone has any questions...
I feel like there's something else we should be talking about, but...
Well, I definitely want to get what you're planning to play this week.
I was thinking Tales of Berseria, but I'm really going, okay, I should at least try to get through a decent amount of Mass Effect 2 or Final Fantasy Tactics.
Okay.
So I'm going to do one of those this week.
Ooh, a tease. Tune in next time to see what Junkblade ended up playing. I think I'm going to shoot for... So I want to try some Mega Man tonight at some point. And then... maybe, depending on schedules are and stuff with Valen and you, but maybe we should... I need to at least send you the randomizer stuff, and we should at least try, like, a... Not even, we don't have to commit to completing a scene, for sure, but just trying to get that ball rolling a bit, I think would be fun.
Alright.
So... Alright. right. I don't see any questions in the chat, much to my surprise.
Sadly, no.
But until next time, it was a pleasure shooting the wind with you, Junkblade. So.
Always a pleasure.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone.